Morning, Fred, and we're here for a couple of more videos this week. The first one we're going to talk about is a group of articles that we found under subtitle Calorie Restriction, which you've generally always talked about, but it was a video from some Harvard medical doctor talking about resveratrol, and then we have another associated article that talks about how reducing your food intake lowers your insulin levels. And this article goes into how insulin overloads can increase the risk of heart disease, cancer, blindness, stroke, Alzheimer's, and other age-related diseases. And this goes back to your topic about hyperinsulinism, which can promote high blood pressure, which can promote cellular growth and increase the risk and progression of certain cancers, which can compromise the vascular system, which could increase the prostate. So all of these factors involved here and associated with, obviously, obesity, atherosclerosis, and impotency. And obviously this leads them right into a predictive factor for type 2 diabetes. Also associated with this study was a moderate caloric restriction group that had a 24% reduction in body mass, and the lower caloric group had a 32% reduction in body mass. So it speaks again to all of what we're saying in the healthy journey here and all of what you've seen clinically over the years. Now that needs to be, again, reinforced with everyone. It just needs to be. So could you make some comments on that, please?
Oh, absolutely, Rory. Well, these studies are, with all due respect, they're only confirming what I've been saying for about 40 years. Hyperinsulinism is a precursor to many, many different diseases, a lot more than is listed there. Hyperinsulinism is when you have, as it states in that study, is when you have a lot of sugar and a lot of insulin in your blood at the same time. Now that study's basing it on just having a lot of insulin. But there's a lot of people that are eating type of diets that are high in carbohydrates, and when you're eating too much fruit, you're definitely suffering from hyperinsulinism if you're not burning off the calories that you're getting from the fruit. So in the raw food community, I've been speaking about that for the last 30 years. I'm very concerned about people that suffer from hyperinsulinism because it causes inflammation of the arterial walls, elevates your CRA, is a factor in homocysteine, and just about everything. So these studies are really, really important because they're confirming things that people have been saying, and it's just bringing confirmation and validating what we've been advocating in the intermediate level diet. The amount of calories that you're consuming that you really don't need. Most people are just overeating and they don't really need the amount of calories they're getting. Even if you're an athlete, you don't need the amount of calories that some people think. It's all based on how biologically efficient that your chemistry is. If you're biologically efficient, if your body is clean on a cellular level, and these studies don't reflect that in these studies, but if you're clean, you can have twice the energy on half the calories. I don't really know if I'm really concerned about whether resveratrol is going to get all the effects that you're going to get from a low-calorie, nutrient-dense diet. I think, it's very possible they're looking to factor in the monetary factor into this type of thing. A lot of people think caloric restriction is very, very difficult. It really isn't that difficult if it's done correctly. And I've been living on a calorically restricted diet for close to 40 years. And in the beginning it was difficult. As your chemistry adjusts to it, though, it becomes relatively easy. And it's very evident when you go beyond the normal amount of calories that have been using, the immediate effect it has on how you feel. So there's no doubt about it. About how well this really works. They still might have to prove it in a laboratory. They're doing studies with rats, worms, and all these other things, but there are many people that have been, unbeknownst to themselves, they're eating basically a raw food diet. Are actually, people that are doing it correctly, especially the people that are really eating 100% raw, they are living on a calorically restricted type of diet, and their body is also becoming more biologically efficient. When you're living on a calorically restricted diet, and you're really eating a diet that's clean and mostly raw or all raw, what happens, your body responds to that. One of the reasons that your body responds so well is not only because it's lower in calories, but because the effect it has on your body as it detoxes, and you become more biologically efficient. When you become more biologically efficient, there's no doubt about it that you're slowing down the aging process. Eventually, they're going to probably be looking for, scientists probably going to be looking for things that you can take, and I'm not...
Well, Fred, can I comment on that? The other two articles in here, speaking about that, are, and a lot of these articles lead people to some type of silver bullet. Like in the one article, it talked about pine nut oil as being a way to suppress someone's appetite so they wouldn't have to actually get into the organization of following so what we wanted to follow, the Your Healthy Journey intermediate level. And then there was one here that was talking about 800 calories a day, and when you broke it down, what that person was doing under a doctor's care was eating manufactured foods, snacks, and other processed foods that were calorie restriction. So, and then can you give us some feedback on that?
Absolutely, that's not the way to go. You know, when you're eating manufactured food, and you're not going to get the same benefits when you're eating real food, totally unprocessed. But with the Korean pine nuts, they definitely are a benefit that somebody should consider here. Remember, I don't want to disregard science completely. There are many people eating vegan diets and raw diets that are binging and overeating like crazy. So there is a possibility that Korean pine nuts would help them, because it does definitely help you create satisfaction without binging and overeating. There's a real problem when you go into caloric restriction, or you go into vegan diets, you're eating a healthy plant-based diet or raw diet, people go through a period of overeating. The thing is, when it's not being addressed correctly, there are people that are eating, you know, basically a diet that's predominantly raw. They're still doing this 10, 15 years later, so they're not addressing the real problem here. There are many ways to address this problem. I also incorporate other people, you know, good kinesiologists, autosuggestion, even sometimes clinical hypnosis. There's many ways to address it very, very successfully. It definitely is a factor that people have to look at. Once you get into a type of diet that's whole, real food, and is calorically restricted, everything, if the organic pathways for recovery are opening, everything seems to normalize. Your body has the ability to heal. It's not the food that heals you. Remember the concept that we advocate. What you leave out, when you're providing all the nutrient-dense foods that we need in the amounts that we need, which is not a lot once you become clean, what happens? You develop a dynamic state of health that your body does. This is educational material. Once you understand the underlying paradigm to how this works, about the seriousness of what you leave out, and then you'll get the idea. I hope people will get the picture what I've been trying to get across to them. I don't think a lot of people truly understand the concept of what you leave out, because what you leave out enables your God-given remedial capabilities to do wonderful, unbelievable things. Slow down the aging process, help us relatively stay free of disease to a very advanced age, enabling us to have vitality and energy, be able to heal, to run and do things at an advanced stage.
Thanks, Fred. That was great. And don't forget to check us out on the blog at www.fredbishyforhealth.com, and check out our natural health plan, where you can assess yourself on where you're at. And have a good day.